So you've got a baby mama, you separated from her, you met somebody else. A few months down the line, the relationship became toxic. She forced you to marry her, you paid lobola. Shortly after you paid lobola, she then told her mother over Christmas that she can't be with you anymore. She told your mother everything wrong that you are doing, and she just decided it's enough. She doesn't want. You also didn't want. Moving forward, following that, you decided to set up house with your baby mama for co-parenting purposes, but then somewhere deep down inside your heart, you were hoping that you guys would fix things. Your baby mama did not know that you had just recently paid lobola for this other lady. Your uncle came over for a visit, spilled the beans. She found out, she got upset, and then left with the child at some point. And then you found out from your son that he had left his slippers at the park a week later after they were at the park, because mom was with some other uncles. They were drinking at the park and he was playing at the park. And then somewhere in between, you met a third lady now that you've fallen in love with. And you're saying that you won't say you met her because you got hurt or you were feeling hurt, but she had your number a year prior, and now you guys have just finally found each other's parts. Of all of this that's happening here, all of this mountain of this woman, that woman, that woman, what is the actual problem that you would like Brenden Praise and Naked DJ to help you with?
I think what I'm picking up from Anonymous, firstly, the first issue is to say he was coerced into paying lobola. There's a lot of deflecting of blame, right, from him, and not taking accountability and lying. And that is why, like, I feel like in his last statement now, he basically just solved his own problem by saying, just be open and honest about everything. And he says he can't do that because he loves his partner currently, and but you don't love someone if you don't tell them the whole truth. That's not real love if you have to pretend and these are important things, like if you're living with another woman and your child and your partner doesn't know that, that's a problem. That's your problem. It's not the new person's problem, because she's coming in trying, I guess I can only assume, trying to be as transparent as she can, and you're not giving her the full story. So it's kind of like, for me, it's like, why wouldn't you say that in the beginning, that this is my situation, this is what it is? And it seems like it's just been reoccurring from the first person, that there's always all this information that is left out that he's not giving everyone. Even when he moved in with his baby mama again, was he upfront to say, this is what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to rebuild what we had, or I'm trying to build something new? It was just, let's do it for the child. But deep down, there's a hidden agenda. So I just feel like, firstly, there's a lot of blame that he's shifting, that he's not taking accountability. But secondly, he's also not being honest. And he's, I guess he feels like he's doing it to protect these people. But I think in the long run, you can't protect anyone by lying to them.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's honestly, I just say, just be honest, just from the get-go, especially with important things.
Hey, Anonymous, basic tender, man.
And look, you want to be a man, Anonymous, wait. You want to be a man, but you behaving like a little boy.
Hey.
You know when people say man up, men don't leave chapters open, nje. Like, men solve problems. Okay, I don't know what sizozama ukukunceda ngisho. Yeah. No, it's because, my brother, you are not man enough to solve problems. You are not man enough to close honest. Chapters. Right? You are not man enough to speak up. Like, and then when you are being questioned as a man, like, no, baby, I'm sorry you had to find out this way. No, my brother, you have to, when people say you have to man up, you have to man up to say, this is what I want. You have to man up to say to people that you are no longer in love with, listen, that the romantic chapter between us is closed. From here on, this is what is going to happen. If we are co-parenting, we are co-parenting. When you overstep your boundaries, I will have to take you to, let's say, a family court, because I'm not going to deal with romantic issues when I'm no longer in a romantic relationship with you.
Cohabiting, number one, with a co-parenter for the purposes of just raising a child. That's a huge boundary that's crossed.
And that's why you're confusing yourself. You're confusing a lot of issues. if you want to co-parent with someone, you say we're co-parenting, why are you moving in with that person? Because obviously other people are going to think you're taking them as a fool. Are you here to take people as a fool, or are you here to man up? And don't forget, if you don't man up, my brother, the same mistakes that you make are the same mistakes that your kids are going to make. My only thing here is, if you continue acting like a little boy, who's going to raise your child? Like, because all the mistakes that you are making are little boy mistakes. Is your child a boy or a girl? So those boys, those uncles at the park, those guys are the guys that are going to teach your child how to be a man. You know why? Because you don't want to be a man. Like, when your child is watching you go through all these things, remember, Guti, kids absorb by watching. Right? Don't think for a second that your kid is not watching. Uguti, you know, what is dad doing? How does dad handle his challenges? And my brother, these are all challenges. You don't have problems, right? You've got little challenges which you can fix by manning up. Manning up is...
How do I fix that? I can really make it, but how do I fix that? Because now it's too much dealing.
No. Listen.
Too much because you made
Listen,
it
my
too
brother.
much.
Yesterday doesn't count, ne? In life, you never look back and say, yes, you can look and say, I've made this mess. But we don't judge you by that. How the proper traits of a man is, what is a man going to do from now, from today? How are you going to resolve all those issues from today? Ngati uyasaba, for the lack of, if usaba bafazi, ungajoli. If usabu kuluma nabantu, ujolelani. No, sabu kuluma iqiniso, ujolelani. Like, dude, you are afraid to tell people how you feel. You are afraid to tell people ukuthi Brenden said earlier on ukuthi, when you don't tell the truth, ne? This is why people. These things then they pile up. They pile up all the time. My brother, umuntu ke washona from hearing iqiniso. Exactly. So sometimes you need to hurt people. And sometimes you think you are hurting people by telling them the truth, but no, you telling them the truth so they can move on. They can hurt for 2 days, it's fine, but they will move on. But also now, when you are scared to tell the truth, you are basically dragging unama caravan, wama problem.
The biggest anonymous. Just quickly, I want you to understand why it's important to tell the truth. You can't lie your way into a relationship. That is the highest level of manipulation, right? Relationships take faith. Yeah, relationships take faith. So you need to trust in yourself that you are lovable with all your kinks, all your flaws, and all your experiences. You are lovable with all your messy experiences. You are worthy of being loved. You are worthy of being entrusted with the gift of love. Now, when you don't trust that you're lovable with all this mess.
And he's not giving people an opportunity to love him, to love the real him.
Yeah.
He's putting up a version that he thinks is lovable, which it's not going to end well, because sooner or later the truth comes out, as you've seen 2 times before. That the truth comes out, and then when people realize, oh, this is the you that you actually are, it's like they've already fallen in love with this version of you that doesn't exist. And I think you should trust people enough. Give the girl you're with now, give her an opportunity to say no if she doesn't want to be with you with your baggage. But if you're just hiding it, then she's with you, but basically you kind of tricking her into being in a relationship with you. It's unfair.
Yeah, that's not fair. What do you mean? Tell her the truth. We can talk about the painful experiences we've had with our partners and how, the relationship ended. But at the end of the day, there must be a level of self-truth where you also account for the demise and the role you played in the demise of the relationship. Yeah. You can't constantly be the victim everywhere. Mm-hmm. It takes 2 to make it work. It takes 2 to make it crumble. So if there were communication problems, if there was this, that, and the other, blah, 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 yes, the hurt may have been inflicted on you, but also what was the role that you were playing in either, what role did you play? Yeah. Anonza, what role are you playing? Because you were forced into marriage, Now it sounds like you're being forced to live with your baby mama to raise the child. Now this new one, you're lying to protect her. Come on.
I think Brenden was spot on when he said this guy life cannot be about deflecting all the time. Now, let me tell you about when, with my life, when I realized I needed to be a man. Now, I think everyone is fully aware. I've got 2 older brothers, right?
Yeah.
So even growing up, I was never bullied because I had 2 older brothers. My women loved my brothers, so I never even had to share because the girls would, you are so-and-so's little brother. Da-da. So everything came easy for me growing up. Now, after a certain time, I think over 20s, instead of when my older brothers were no longer there, I had to start fending for myself.
Yeah.
I had to start fighting. I had to start making decisions for myself when my older brothers were not there. Hence, at a certain time, I had to be my own man and make my own decisions. So I'm looking at Twitter and people saying, Naked said he was a little boy. No, Naked was a little boy too. Until Naked decided that I want to be a man. I want to make man decisions. And the decisions that I make, I can see that they affect my future. They affect my mental whether it's my mental stability or instability or my mental health. Therefore, I will never let anybody else make decisions for me that are going to affect me.
Umshado.
Umshado is not for little boys and girls. Umshado is for people that can make decisions. Umshado is for women and men that say, I did this, therefore I take responsibility for it. Umshado or relationships are not for things where you're going to say, someone said I must marry them, so sahlanganisa namaji. No. That's not a man. You are not a man. You are still a little boy. Yeah. So, guys, get it right. When I say he needs to be a man, a lot of us are still behaving like little boys right now. You still could be in your 40s, but still behaving like a little boy or like a little girl. What really hurts me is when kids are involved and you're still behaving like a little boy, or you are still behaving like a little girl, and you need to raise kids. Who must raise your kids? Does society have to raise your kids for you because you can't man up? Because you can't be a woman? No, it's nonsense. At a certain point in your life, you have to say, I'm taking responsibility for everything. I'm going to man up I'm going to woman up because my kids are watching. My kids are watching and learning and absorbing from me.